By what name are you known?
There are some who call me Tim.
What is going on, guys? I'm Tim McCarthy, and you're listening to 20 Tim Minutes, a podcast that focuses on mental health through humor, insight, and personal stories. This is the second week in a row that I don't have a guest introduction, but it's on purpose. I got a bunch in the chamber to use for 2022, but I figured with this being my last episode of the year, I'm going to be more selfish, and it's going to be all about me and no promotion, because why not? But I thank everybody that has done an introduction for me for this past year. That is, it's been a huge help and really fun to hear everyone help me out, and they don't have to do that. So it's really cool. Episode 58, man. This is the last one of 2021. Holy shit. Started in November 2020, obviously. So hopefully this episode's not as similar as my 1 year anniversary, because I'm pretty much going to just go over everything this year from what I remember, because if you're a fan of this podcast, I have an awful memory. But yeah, we just had Christmas. Most of us had Christmas. If you celebrate it, I celebrated it. Went down to my sister's house and hung with my brother, my mom, and everybody else that's involved. Sister-in-law, brother-in-law, father-in-law, no, father, stepfather. I don't know. We're all over the map. You should see my family tree. It looks like we're throwing up gang signs with how our branches all go around. But yeah, I had a blast. We did our Secret Santa, and I got some new headphones for the podcast because I usually been using my PlayStation 4 headphones with the small wire, which have been driving me nuts. So I don't even know if those are good ones. It's the one I found. I put it on my list, so that's why the Secret Santa bought it for me. But I feel like everyone's always like with their equipment with the podcast, everyone's always like, "Yeah, I don't really like that, but good for you." It's like, okay, thanks for being backhandish with that comment, but thank you. But it was good. Christmas is really good. Over here in Massachusetts, it does not feel like winter whatsoever. I think winter got canceled or global warming's going on. I actually don't know what global warming really means. I read like an article real quick and it said just to wash all your clothes in cold water so you can do your part. So I wash my clothes in cold water. I don't know why we do hot water unless it's like really bad, but cold water is the way to go. I smell fine. I'm a great smelling person. Even though I don't have a great sense of smell. I don't have that best of a smell. Someone's like, smell this candle. I'm like, I don't smell anything. But maybe I have COVID. I don't know. I've gotten tested a lot. I actually don't even feel that good. I had a real sore throat. The best was last year when everyone wore a mask and had to. Like, no one got sick. So it just goes to show that mask kind of work. But whatever. But this episode's a little bit late just for the sake of I wanted to talk to my therapist. And if you know me, I was a little bit lazy. And I didn't feel good last night. So I met my new therapist today. It went really well. It was good. We just had like that quick introduction where like she just needed to be caught up to speed. I was like, "Do I have a file? Did you like read a file?" And she said, "Yeah, but she likes to start over, which is fine." I really like her so far. It's good. It's always funny to catch people up to speed with my life. And she's like, "You're a very interesting person." I'm like, "Yeah, I get that a lot." I don't think I'm like interesting to the point of like everyone should talk to me or whatever, but I have some interesting stories in my life. Like I said, like 90% of this podcast is like very open about my own life because I'm at that age where like I just stopped giving a shit. And by stop giving a shit, hopefully I can help somebody else. And that's happened this past year. A lot of people have reached out and said I've pushed them to go get therapy or just said thanks for opening up or they felt similar in a way. So I always love those messages. I'm always on my phone, which I shouldn't be, but if you ever want to chat with me, I'm always down. I can't really give you professional help, but I will lend an ear for you. So I do appreciate everybody for that, and I'm very grateful that people feel comfortable enough to share that with me. And I think it's due to how open I am, maybe a little bit too open, but it's what makes this episode. What makes this podcast 20 Tim Minutes. The funny thing about my therapist, though, is I made that joke that I do, a Cinco de Hangout, where May 5th was like the day I almost was like, "Peace out, guys." And she was like, "Ooh, like that's not good." But you know, May 5th's my birthday, and she blew my mind. I was like, bruh, what are the odds of that? That the day that I was going to just see you later to everybody. And then my new therapist is born on that same day. Bananas, right? That's crazy. Um, I always love that when someone's telling you a story and you're not paying attention. You're like, oh man, that's crazy. Oh, yeah? Oh man, that's so crazy. And you just want to dip out. My thing is, I always pretend I have to go to the bathroom. If I'm in a conversation at like a party I don't want to be a part of anymore, I'm like, hey, I'll be right back. Go to the bathroom. I come back out there waiting for me. I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, I gotta take this phone call. Come back in, they're still waiting for you. I'm like, oh fuck. So I just leave. Um, but it was really cool to hear that. So like, I feel like that was like a sign. I have all these weird signs, and I didn't know this at the time when I adopted Fanny. It was May 5th as well, which I didn't know because I didn't even know the day it happened, May 5th, 2019. I didn't even know the date until after, really, because I was having such a fucking hard time. Um, but yeah, I was talking to her about the call to void again. I know I talked about that in a previous episode. She was like, do you still have ideations and stuff? And I'm like, yeah, of course I do. I'm not going to act on them because I'm way past that point and I just have to deal with my life and break the stigma by cracking a smile. Yeah, okay. But the call to the void, if you don't know what it is that feeling when you stand in like a high place and think about jumping, but you don't actually want to and don't actually do it. It's a feeling more people have, they like to admit. It is, however, a feeling common enough that studies have been dedicated, where it's like if I'm holding the knife, like, what if I just stab myself right now? Same thing with the high up thing. It's like just like what would happen if I did that? I do the same thing when I'm like out being anxious and I just think of stuff in my head. Like if I'm waiting in line at Target and there's a guy in front of me, like, what would happen if I just tickled him? If I just tickled this guy, what do you think would happen? Odds say he'd probably punch me in the face. Maybe he likes it. Maybe he likes being tickled. Oh my God. I watched a documentary about this tickle league where like these dudes like hold each other down and like tickle each other. But there was like this huge, like, like weird thing behind the scenes where this one guy pretended to be like two females and like was ruining these people's lives about getting tickled. If you hold me down and tickle me, when I get out of there, I will kill you. Straight up. I'm pretty good at like not being ticklish, but if you start to tickle me and I start laughing, you might catch an elbow, and I get some sharp elbows. So if you're gonna come at me tickling and you get hit, it's by mistake, but I'm not gonna be sorry about it. Timmy Tickles, don't even mess with it. DJ Tickles would be a good name for a DJ. Like Gucci Gucci Goo. I don't know. That was stupid, but lives on. But yeah, the call to void I always think about. But yeah, I was saying that like I do have ideation. I've always said that. It's like suicide isn't an option. It's like, well, it is an option. You can't sugarcoat it. It's an option. It's not the right option. It's the last option that should be on your mind. But I never really liked that phrase, but I get it in a sense. But yeah, I'm always like, yeah, like some days I'm just driving to work and I'm like, that'd be really cool if like a tractor trailer fell on my truck. And that's kind of like a call to void where I think about that stuff of it just happening, but it's actually not my choice. So I'm always waiting to get hit on a crosswalk. You know how much money you get on that? What you have to do, people, and this is not a fact, so don't try it. Don't try this at home. But in my mind, I think that if it's a sedan, if I jump up, throw my shoulder into the glass, roll off, then hold the back of my head, I think I could survive that. If they're going like 50, I'm going to be toast, but maybe like a 30, 40. And if it's a 10 or 20, oh man, that's easy. Easy. Getting hit on a crosswalk is like one of my resolutions for 2022. I'm just kidding, obviously, but I think about that all the time because I don't care. Like if I'm walking on a crosswalk, oh my God, see what happens if you hit me because you're going to be broke, my friend. But yeah, I just wanted to go over everything for the podcast. So I do apologize if this is boring. I'm just going to do some quick rundowns on everything and people I want to thank and just about the episodes. So yeah, I started in November 2020 or whatever, but I didn't even start my interviews till March 11th. And then there's a bunch of episodes like that are very pivotal, and I think it is. And I looked back, I actually did some research on my own. Let me know what your favorite episode is too, by the way. Episode 10, story how I shit myself in the Bahamas. That came out in like January 19th. So that was like the start of like me opening up and like starting off like as a humor thing because that's one of my most embarrassing stories, but not embarrassing anymore to tell it because I finally got everyone's angle of what happened that day. So episode 10, the story how I shit myself. I think it's called Bahama Mamba. Episode 13, I talk about how I almost drowned on my honeymoon where me and Lindsay were in Antigua and I was almost left for dead. So that's a good one. Episode 25 is the story of my suicide day. I made it, don't worry, but that one's really detailed. I think I end up crying in that one. If you can tell me which episodes I've cried in, I will send you a t-shirt. And that's one of them. Then one of my most popular episodes on YouTube by default was my missing white syndrome, um, which was very it wasn't it was a hot topic because like I learned about it right before like it was on the news as a topic. So I had all these like crazy people commenting on it. And again, like I don't care what side you're on, just don't be a dick. And there's so many dicks. Relax, just have a conversation. And I could tell people didn't watch the episode, which is even great. I'd be like, hey, did you watch it? And they'd be like, nah. But if you look up that episode, that one is probably my highest viewed episode on YouTube. And then right out the next week, those are like back-to-back heavy episodes. And then the next week, episode 45, it was a controversial topic where I talk about is pedophilia a mental health disease? And it was very interesting, and I handled it really well. And again, I'll say what I said on that episode. I do not support pedophiles whatsoever. I do not feel bad for them. That's my opinion. I don't know how you feel, but I feel like it's probably similar to me. But that episode was very controversial, and no one got mad, which was good. So if you want to listen to that and get mad, let me know. And then episode 52 is my 1-year anniversary. And then recently, episode 57, I brought up my separation from Lindsay that is going on right now, which was emotional. But it's all these were pivotal. I was very open with everybody. I like when people say my episode's raw. It sounds like I'm hanging out with a friend. Like I really, really appreciate that. And I don't do it for like ratings, obviously. It's just like I am just being true to myself to like a 90% degree, if that makes sense. Like I can't give away everything. If I talk, if that would be like desperate for ratings. Like if I told you everything, god damn, that would be something. But I'm glad, and like everything I've talked about, if I talk about somebody else or anything, I always go over it with them. Because who knows, like this thing could take off. A lot of people say that like I'm destined for some good things, and I hope so, but I don't get my hopes up. I don't get my hopes up for a lot of things because I hate being let down. And I think even more, I hate letting people down. That's like a big thing for me. So if I let you down, I'm up at night. And I've let a lot of people down this year, and I'm not proud of it. And it sucks and it hurts, but I try to do my best. Chumbawamba, get knocked down, you got to get up again. And yeah, this year was interesting. A lot of ups and downs. The podcast helped me a lot. I went into some ruts. I backpedaled a lot on my I did one step forward, two steps back with my mental health. It was just really tough. Lost my therapist. And like I just said about all those episodes that happened this year, but I think I don't know what my New Year's resolution was last year. I should probably go back and listen, but I think this year is going to be say yes to more things. I remember one year, I forget what it was. I just said, this is the year of the no. I was getting invited to too many weddings, too many events, and I was just like being broke. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to say no to everything that year. And I don't think I did, but this year I want to say yes to a lot of more things. Like when I went out to go see Kesha in DC, like that was like a big thing for me. Because I don't really like get out much. I don't even like really have like friends anymore, which is like super sad. I do and I don't. Like you have those friends that like have families and babies, so it's hard to like schedule them with that. And then like I got my friends I hang out with. Like today I went out with two of my buddies and we did like level 99, which is like an interactive like human video game / escape room where like you go in a room and it's all different. You have like different tasks to do. Like one was like you got to play like skee ball and get the balls in the hole. Then there's like a rope course. You got to like use teamwork and stuff. It was just like really fun. And like those like are really good close friends of mine. But yeah, I just felt like I just lost a lot of connections with people. I think a lot of people just kind of moved on or not gave up on me in a way, but just I don't know. It's just the way I'm always in my own head. I just feel like people are sick of me or disappointed in me or something, but it's all right because I don't really give a fuck anymore because I have to worry about myself, and that's the goal. And then, dude, all the interviews I had, I didn't realize I started them in March 11th. I'm going to run through these real quick and a little bit of a note. If you haven't checked out any of my interviews, all of them fucking rock. Like, I do a real good job. I made everyone laugh in at least one episode, and everyone had said like this was such a different interview. And I have no interview skills. You guys know I trip over my words all the time. I'm not like smart. I'm not a smart person, which I'm cool with. I like being street smarts. Do you either street smarts or you book smarts, bruh? But yeah, my first interview was with Haley, podcast 27, Rachel Rosen. I did that with postpartum depression, which was like a huge topic to do as like one of my first interviews. Uh, Dude that has no kids, has no reason to talk about a woman's body. And we did it. I did a real good job because a lot of these topics I don't know anything about. And if I can learn about it in like a little bit of ways, then I know someone else could. And one of the questions I gave her, and everyone's like, that was like it was like such a Tim question where I was like, is there a prepartum depression? Like, oh, honey, you're cute. And then Britt Turpak, motivational speaker. Gracie and Vince, good friends I've made with Love Brain Company, apparel company that sells mental health like slogans on it, and they donate the money to the NAMI. Check them out. Then I had Doug Middleton on, NFL player. We talked about the African American community and mental health, which again, I'm not African American. Actually, I do have some Nigerian and Southern Bantu in my system. I'm from a very diverse family that different aspects of it. And it's really cool. I have a big difference of yeah, I took an ancestry test. Be careful if you take an ancestry test. And I'm not even talking about the DNA portion. I'm talking about the match portion. And you might know what I'm talking about. But anyway, Cody I.O., the Vin Weasel, that guy fucking rocked. Talked about his sobriety. Sadie Sutton from She Persisted. Lindsay Martin with She Space. Like we're friends now. We talked about PCOS, polycystic ovary syndrome. Again, woman's body. I have no business. Hillary Rose, MMA fighter. Taylor James. Super shout out to Taylor James with the Waffle Shop podcast. He was the first mental health podcast I found. Reached out to him and he helped me so much. Great bloke. He's from over the pond. I highly suggest you go see him. Tell him I said hi. And thank you, Taylor. You helped me out a lot. I talked to a disabled queer poet, Tom Rudd, non-binary. And Tom was really good with me because I got to ask those questions. And thank you, Tom. I love you so much. You were one of my favorite interviews. Thank you. Then Kara Parrish, she found me. MTV's Buck Wild. Love her. Erin Marie Hogan, actress who was like treated so shittily on sets. Jimmy Jacobs, wrestler, loved him. Tony Grebmeyer is like a mentor of mine, and I've never even understood what that meant. But Tony Grebmeyer, Tony G, I can't thank that guy enough to help me out with this fucking podcast. I was on his show. The guy is the balls. Go check him out. Olivia Bowser with Liberate Studio, Kimmer Luna, Al Snow, WWF Attitude Era wrestler. That guy rocked. John's Crazy Socks. Oh my God. Love John's Crazy Socks. John is a Down syndrome man, owns a sock company with his dad. They were one of my favorite interviews as well, just because the dad said that no one really asked about the mental health side of everything. He said the easiest thing that I did in my life was raise a son with Down syndrome. And I'll never forget that. John's Crazy Socks. Go buy their socks. Fucking tell John I said what's up. Scout Sobel, Stephanie Simpson, friend of a friend. I'm glad I met her. Felicity Feline, my homie. She was an adult entertainer. She went through some shit. She is so cool. She sent me a bunch of swag. Felicity, I salute you. I love you. Nate Carroll, the push-up man. Jessica Michelle Singleton, who reached out to me for this show. Hilarious comedian who's at the Comedy Store, like mainstay. So go check her out if you're in there. Tony Passman, the homie from Roscoe's Wetsuit Neuro. Laura Martin with her IBS talk, really shitty. Nina Corcoran, great human being, been through some shit. I highly suggest you check her out. Say hello. Just a remarkable, great human being. Holly Ann Mitchell and the ADHD coach himself, Aaron Croft, who is just hysterical. That guy's huge on TikTok. Quick shout outs to like all of my podcast friends and everyone that I met, like real friends that I've like talked to and like had serious conversations. Check out Fantasy Friendship. That was one of the first interviews that I went on. I did voice work with the Plum Forest podcast, like where I was a character in it. The Ross Ravina podcast, my man Chicago Tony V. Jav with Decent Takes. Tony Grebmeyer been on. Amped Up Squad. Chris Meek. Tattoo Squid. It's Not Bad podcast where I talked about the internship, and then the Random Christian Show, and I have a bunch more coming up. And if you haven't seen my interviews, I always do like a rock, paper, scissors matchup. And I ended the season with 10-17. So season 2 is coming in January. And we'll see how that goes. And then I signed with Digitent, what is a mental health podcast network that is going to try to help me grow with 20 Tim Minutes. And they sought me out through Good Pods, which is an app that is new. It's strictly podcasts, and it's a great way to find independent podcasters and podcasts and just learn about new ones, because it's a lot easier to find out what topic you are. And I've been like number 1 on the health and fitness one. It's really awesome. And then just special shout out to Caleb with Appetizers LLC for my app. Make sure you go download my app. Job with the Phoenix Print Company, who came out with my new shirts and sweatshirts. Hemlock Inc. has done my first 2 shirts. I still have my second one left. I think they kind of sucked. Haley with Podcast 27, great friend. Chicago Tony V, great friend. Steven with Fantasy Friendship, like I said, he was one of the first interviews I've done. Sent him a hat. You better send me something, pal. Harry with Gamers Watch, another human, a great bloke from over the pond that we talked to about life and just how fucking crazy it can be. And he's like my Twitter bash brother. We go in on some people that try to start some shit. He's a funny dude. The podcast father, Jeff, great human being. My dude and my girl over at the Soba Highway, and then Pixie with Next on Stage 1, who's been a real help. Check out her. She has a lot of good things coming up. She's making moves, so I think she's going to do some real good. But again, a lot of ups and downs this year, but it's cool. My goal for 2022 is to say yes to more. I would love to know what your guys' resolutions are, which would be great. Thanks to my buddy Duff for helping me out with the 20 Tim Minutes name. Thank you to Paul Adams for the theme song, and special thanks to Lindsay for always being there for me, being my number 1 fan, and never giving up on me with this, and always pushing me to do an episode. And that article I was in, I told them, I was like, yeah, every time I come downstairs, she goes, oh, how'd it go? And I go, worst episode yet. So I thank you, Lindsay. I love you, and I love all you guys. Thank you so much for making this year good for me, even though I wasn't the best overall with the podcast, I feel like. But I'm hoping for a good 2022. I want to get out there. Like, I want to do like a live show. I would love to go to like some school and like talk to them about like just how fucking crazy life is, and like my story would be really cool. Like, I would like to do like a guest speaker type thing with like a lot of the people that I do interviews with, which is kind of cool. I don't know if I could handle that or do it, but I would love to like get out of my comfort zone and try it. Because I like doing like the stand-up aspect of everything. So it'd be really cool to try that. So if anyone wants to hire me for wrestling t-shirts, I'll do it. But yeah, my song suggestion is Steel Gold Donut Shop. I saw them open up for Czarface when I went out with my buddies. Really good jam. And then I don't really have any like podcasts or movies to suggest. I guess I gotta go see the new Spider-Man. I feel like I'm losing it with the whole Marvel thing, but I gotta get back into it. I've just been too busy. But thank you to my family, my friends, and now my fans. Monkey Noodle, I love you, my guy. And again, thank you guys so much. I love you. Have a fucking awesome New Year's, and whatever your resolution or what you want to do in that year, don't let anything stop you. Like I always say, eat a Mario star and just run through a motherfucker. Kick life in the face. Do some stuff for you. Make changes for you, even though it's scary, because I'm making changes and I'm fucking deathly afraid. But there's nothing stopping you from what you want to do. Like, fuck it. We can do this. I love you guys, and have a good one.
This podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. If you are feeling suicidal, please dial 911.